What it do, Grizz Nation? It's your boy, Evan Hayes, the co-host of the No Bluffin Podcast, and I'm back with another post-game bounce. As I will be reviewing last night's game as the Memphis Grizzlies took on the Sacramento Kings. I'll be giving my positives, my negatives, and my overall insights on the game. But first, a quick little rundown. The Grizzlies lost last night's game 133 to 138 to push their record to 23-12 on the season, and now they are 2-2 on this 5-game Western road trip. It was a very high-scoring game on both sides, very highly competitive, but the Grizzlies could not pull the W out. Now, a quick little rundown. Before the game, we had some good news coming back with guys returning to the lineup. We had Zach Edey, Brandon Clark, and Jacob Ravy all return to the lineup, and they all had decent showings. Each team had 6 guys in double figures. For the Grizzlies, Jalen Woods had a career-high 30 points and a career-high 8 3-pointers made in his return in his hometown of Sacramento. Jaren Jackson Jr. had 28 points. Desmond Bane had a near triple-double with 22.7 rebounds, 8 assists. Scottie Pippen Jr. in a starting role with John Moran out, obviously, had 16 points. Brandon Clark had 11 points and 8 rebounds. And Luke Kennard had another decent game, a stat sheet stuffing game with 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. For the Kings, Malik Monk was the game high scorer with 31 points, had 11 of those points in the fourth quarter. We'll get to that later. DeMar DeRozan had 29 points. De'Aaron Fox had 23 points. Sabonis had 17 and 10, double-double. He also leads the league in double-double this season. As to his total, Trey Lyles had 16 points, and Keon Ellis rounded out their key contributors with 13 points on the night. It was a tough loss for the Grizzlies as they simply just got outplayed by the Kings. It wasn't a lot of good things we saw in the first quarter. The Grizzlies gave up 46 points in the first quarter and 72 points in the first half. The defense was not where it was supposed to be the whole game. Not a very customary Grizzlies game. You can't expect, no matter if the Kings, I think they were 12th in the Western Conference going into this game, you can't expect to give up 46 points on the road and expect to win. 3-point defense was not good last night. They gave up 21 3-pointers as the Kings shot 45% from the 3-point line. You cannot have that. Very bad individual defense, as I named off. Of course, Malik Monk had 31 points. DeMar DeRozan had 29. Fox had 23. Yes, you score 133 points and you expect to win that ball game, but when you're letting the 3 top scorers on the opposing team having 20 points plus 20 points each, that's not a recipe for success because you have to match guys shot for shot, especially when guys at the lineup. That's a very hard task on your key contributors like Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane. They did well, but they weren't doing themselves any favors on the defensive end. The Grizzlies, I have to give them credit. They were very resilient in this game. As I mentioned, they gave up 46 points in the first quarter, but also went down as big as 15 in that first half. But they bounced back the whole game in the third quarter, and they won the second and third quarters. But in the fourth quarter, they just couldn't capitalize down the stretch to get the win. I have to talk about that a little bit. Fourth quarter execution has been a problem for this team throughout the whole season with guys in and out of the lineup. It seems like that's just, no matter if guys are in or out, that's just a problem the Grizzlies have. And especially on the road, you saw in that Dallas game a few weeks ago, that game that the Grizzlies should have won, how they gave that game away. The Grizzlies, despite how poorly they played overall, they had opportunities to win this game, especially in the fourth quarter, but they couldn't capitalize down the stretch. One on defense was very bad. Malik Monk, as I mentioned before, had 11 points in the fourth quarter. They were just he was either going ISO ball or getting a high screen and roll with Zach Edey, picking him apart and taking it to the hole, getting open shots, things of that nature. There's a lot of open shots that y'all can probably see behind me throughout the whole game, especially in the fourth. DeMar DeRozan, who isn't a great 3-point shooter, was getting open shots. De'Aaron Fox hit a big 3-pointer in the fourth quarter. When this team gets in the fourth quarter, it seems like the guys get real tight, and that's where experience comes in. But fortunately, you will hope that with all the experience this core group of guys have, you will hope that wouldn't be the case. Despite Ja being out, you still need to have great fourth quarter execution because this is what the playoffs is like. If this team's expectation is the finals or is the West Conference Finals, just to advance deeper in the playoffs than we've done before, we have to be able to execute on both sides of the ball in the fourth quarter. There's a lot of turnovers in the fourth quarter, a lot of turnovers throughout the whole game. 17 turnovers during the game. You can't have that. The Grizzlies have actually been one of the best teams in the league this season. Take care of the ball. I believe we're right under 11 to 12 for our turnovers, averaging 17. I mean, putting them 17 in one game is not a good recipe for success, especially playing a Kings team that's a very, very high-powered offense that capitalize off of turnovers, getting in running in transition. You can't have that. You only forced 9 turnovers with the Kings. 8 turnover differential can really sway a tight game, and it really did that. Another uncharacteristic like stat for this game. Normally, the Grizzlies impose their will on other teams. They're out physical. They outplay them on the defensive end. Last night, the Kings imposed their will on the Grizzlies. The Kings had 10 steals. Yes, 10 steals and 8 blocks on the Grizzlies last game. You do not see that a lot. Despite that, you see it was a close game. The Grizzlies, this team is talented enough, even with guys in the lineup, to still win these games where you don't play your best, but you have to capitalize on the things that the other team doesn't do well and keep doing the things you do great. The Grizzlies ball movement was great. Had another game over 30 assists. We're the top of the league in assists. Need to keep that going. The rebounds, we had over 50 rebounds this game. Also, great to keep those things going. But there are all these little things, the intricacies of the game that you have to improve on if you want to take that next step. Wasn't a great game, but we move on. There is one more game of this 5-game road trip tonight. The Golden State Warriors. The Grizzlies travel to Golden State to play the Golden State Warriors to hopefully go 3-2 on this Western Conference road trip. Steph Curry will not be playing. I repeat, Steph Curry will not be playing. So both teams be kind of depleted. Also, Gary Payton Jr. will not be playing. Will not be an easy game. The Warriors have always given the Grizzlies problem no matter who's in the lineup. They're playing in Golden State, which is always going to be a very tough and raucous environment. But if this team comes together and improves the things that they didn't do this game, I'm still confident that they can come out with a W. Also have to mention notes coming out of shoot-around that, guys, we saw Edie, BC, and LaRavia come back this game, but also there was notes of Ja Morant shooting the ball without a sling. G.G. Jackson also shooting, getting shots up with no boot, no ankle brace, no anything like that. And also Vince Williams on the court getting some work in without an ankle brace. So we seeing guys slowly but surely coming back. We're still waiting to hear news on Marcus Smart with his tearing his finger. Hopefully he comes back soon. You just want to keep the boat and keep the ship steady when these guys are still out. The Grizzlies are still taking the Western Conference, still in a good shape, but you don't want to drop these games that you need to. And hopefully tonight against Golden State, they can get another dub. That's all I have tonight. Please follow me on my Twitter, E11Hayes, and follow everybody on the Bluff City Media Network. That's all I have. I'm Evan Hayes. I appreciate y'all tuning in with me. And as always, go Grizz.